Alright guys, welcome to Trackmania Rewind 2021, where we will be reviewing all the world records that were set last year. There are 30 of them, if not more, and we'll just be looking at how people improved the records over the year, and also what historic milestones were reached. This is going to be about a 2-hour video, if not more, so I recommend you get really comfortable in your chair, get some coffee, get some iced coffee, or even water. I have all three. And let's get into it. Now, I would have done this sooner, but Trackmania Exchange, the website that we use for leaderboards, got hacked in December. And it didn't come online again until last week. So that's why we are doing this now. Better late than never. So let's begin. I have a folder, Rewind 2021, and it has many other folders within it with records in the order that they were set during the year. So let's begin with the first record of 2021, which was C07. Now, the record was by Marmerlotti, and Marmerlotti himself improved to a faster time. This was right after New Year's, where he beat his own world record. So we can have a look at that. The ghost we're watching here, that we're following on board with, is the old record. And the ghost ahead is Marmerlotti's improvement. So we just got a little bit of a better start, but primarily the time gain here will be in the shortcut. There's a massive one where you jump out of this dirt turn, land up on the road above, and then you can see that he lost a little bit of speed here in the new record. He was behind. But the third shortcut also has yet to happen. This one right here, where somehow he managed to bug slide on the inside. You see, the old record went wide. He got a much better trajectory and went on the inside of this obstacle. Just a more direct line to the finish. This was set right after New Year's, but later on in the year, Dennis and 90 managed to beat it and go even faster. So let's remove the oldest record here and see how Dennis beat Marm. He was already a little bit ahead on the shortcut and carried more speed, just like Marm's old record. Then on the last part of the shortcut, he went wide. So you might wonder, the world record now is a 35:46, but you might wonder if Dennis here had gotten Marm's ending. You know, could he go even faster? Could he perhaps get closer to a 34? There's a lot more possible here, but it's just really hard to nail all the shortcuts. So, a very difficult map, but it's now Dennis that has the world record. It's the first map. The second map is interesting. It's Eo4 Obstacle. Believe it or not, the record here from Meh was driven during last year's Rewind. So when we were looking at the records from last year, Meh drove this run that you're about to see. And for context, what you need to know here, there are two paths. The one that Joe Halls does is faster on paper, but Meh beat him with the old shortcut route. So you will see two different paths here if I just go into the free camera, where you can see that Joe Halls is jumping through this part and jumping out to the checkpoint over here, whereas Meh is going down here. Two completely different shortcut orders of checkpoints. And it's estimated that if both routes drive perfectly, that Joe Halls' path there will be about a second, if not two, faster. Different efficiency. So you can still improve here, and Meh has started going for the Joe Halls route. He's been sending some updates about close attempts that he failed and stuff, so it's very likely you'll see this in next year's Rewind too, that, you know, there's a new improvement. But here, Meh is just going to transition between these platforms and take a pretty long path to the ending. And where the Joe Halls path gains is that he's picked up all these checkpoints already, and he's coming down towards the same ending. So from here, let's follow this from Joe Halls' perspective. Because here, Joe Halls is going to jump towards the end. Just going to go straight to the finish. Meh is going to do the same. And you can see him landing on the platform, but he has a very awkward trajectory. Haphaz has more speed. And it ends up being pretty damn close. Two completely different paths. But Meh was 300s faster at the finish line. 131.27 versus 131.30. You can watch that from Meh's perspective. You'll just hear an engine in the distance. Listen. Is it fast enough? I think you couldn't even tell, but yeah, super close. Super close battle. Meh still has this world record. The third record of 2021 is one we haven't seen. C14. A remarkable improvement from Estas. Dennis played this map for, it was either 200 or 300 hours to set the record. So the old record on this map used to belong to Haphaz, who did an amazing Uberbug into the finish. But we looked at the numbers and we thought, wait, so Haphaz only did the shortcut in lap 3. It has 3 laps. And we thought, wait, wouldn't it be possible to do a smaller shortcut in lap 2 and then a smaller shortcut in lap 3 and combine those to beat Haphaz run? And that's what Dennis set out to do in 2020. And Estas set out to beat him with the same path in 2021. So you can see Estas got a much better start here, much better first lap. And prepare yourselves, because this is a beautiful thing that's about to happen. I'm gonna change camera. Just enjoy this one. Just enjoy this one. Bug slide into a 360 to land on the road in lap 2. Not just visually stunning, but incredibly fast approach. And that saves 4 seconds. So now he just needs to do the smaller version of the shortcut in the end to get the record. And he is way ahead of Dennis at this point. You still have to do this skip right here. Lines up the same way, but goes out on the grass this time. Maintains all the speed. And then a little bit of a flick on the statue to go into the finish. 139.50. And Dennis had 140.57. I'm going to give you guys this one more time in slow-mo here. All right, here we go. Lines it up, and then you have just an artwork. That's a beautiful, beautiful run. So yeah, that is C14, and the record still stands. No one has beaten this for the rest of 2021, even though it was almost, well, over a year ago now. The fourth box contains Eo2 Endurance. Old world record going into the year was by Raso, a 329. And when he drove this, it was a crazy time. I think the record was 334. So he beat the record by like 5 seconds at that point. But then Crosshairs managed to beat it twice, 2 times. And I mean, the second improvement, why not? He felt he could go faster. And then later on in the year, Labafu did a 326. And I think we're going to show all these runs at once, so you can kind of see the potential of the map. Because they're all going to do the same path. It's a very intricate shortcut route. So we're going to spectate all ghosts. And we can put the perspective on Labafu, who currently has the record. So interestingly, Labafu got the best start. They just climbed the wall, skip to, I think it's checkpoint 7. At one point, I had memorized the entire shortcut path in numbers, but then I lost it. So here's the second shortcut of this route, where you climb over the wall, drop into this checkpoint. You can see Labafu in the current record had a crazy good start. Just way faster than the others. So now they're going to pick up 3 checkpoints in this area, in the zigzag part, as we call it. And then they're going to continue to the third shortcut, which is the easiest one on this route. It has 8 shortcuts. Just maintain a lot of speed here, and then you have jump and then the skip. Over the left wall. This one is very important to carry a lot of speed on the landing. You do not want to land slow. You see crosshairs there landed a bit slow. Eraser landed with really good speed, and in this grand battle he went from 4th to 2nd. Nearly catching up. Now they're coming up to the hardest skip, arguably, which is a massive gap you have to clear. To the left now on this turn. And the only way you can clear it is if you get a bug slide on the overwall. Just look at this. You have to hit the checkpoint, get the wheel on the wall, and then bug slide over this gap to reach the other side. It is very difficult. And often runs will die here. So you will have done all the shortcuts beforehand, only for the run to die here. Which sucks. You have to try again. But if you survive that part, you know, okay, this is now an actual world record attempt. And Labafu still has a really good lead on all the other cars. Now you have 2 checkpoints next to each other, and you have to climb from one side to the other. Just get across. Rezo with yet another good skip. Labafu's wall. That was the 5th, was it? Yeah, the 5th shortcut. I'm losing count. I think it was the 5th. And now they go down to pick up 2 checkpoints here, before jumping out to the ending of the track, the end part, at the bottom here. Tough jump, and you have to land on the road with a lot of speed. Because following that, there's a big jump here. You have to jump and land on this road. That is the 7th now. You have 1 skip left to do. You see Crosser just came in from the other side. Same wall climb here in the end though. Gotta get across here and get down on the finish road. And this is really where Rezo lost time in his old world record, where all the others gained. If you look at this from the overview, you can go over there. You can see the difference here. Labafu had a really good last skip. Crosshairs as well in his new record. Really good last skip. The other 2 lost a few seconds. But overall, if you think about how much the differences here oscillated, how much they changed between the players, you can probably do like a 3:24, 23. You can still gain about 2 seconds on what Labafu has here with a really ideal run. But it's also just like, how much can you hit in one attempt, right? How much can go your way? It might see some improvements, but it's already getting very optimal. That's Eo4, Eo2. The 5th box, D14 Endurance. On the 27th of February last year, I actually managed to get this run that we're about to watch. Little known fact, but I actually have 2 world records in Trackmania Nations Forever. And this one took me 40, 50 hours of playing. We're gonna watch it from Rezo's perspective. Because this run was, in my time of playing the map, my fastest run. Literally fastest. And I had a lot of good attempts on this track. So the first 2 laps here were some of the best I've driven. The skip here is very difficult to get with a lot of speed on the exit, but I had it really nicely in the first lap. And you can see there's already like a 3/10 of a second, 4/10 of a second gap. Then you have the wall bang, where you have to crash the wall on purpose here to realign the car. And this one I also got really well. You have to do that. Sometimes you fly out of the turn. It's a frustrating map. But into the second lap, we are ahead of Rezo. Now let's see the next shortcut. Rezo almost caught up here in the drifting parts. I'm not that good at tech, it seems. But then I had a really good second skip, and just look at the speed. I was gone on this run. I was completely gone. Like a 1 second lead over the old world record, right? But it's anything but over. Because when you have a lead like this, Just look at it from my point of view, because you still have to drive and survive all the turns. You still have to hit the wall bang. You still have to get a good inside drift with a lot of speed. So if you land slightly angled, one brake tap towards the turn and then commit. You have to do everything, even though you have the lead. It's not given that you'll beat it. But this was my best opportunity at it. I just need to get the last skip. And get the last skip, I did. In fact, really good. Really, really, really good. Racel's last one was good, but I'm still far ahead. Like a second. But this is where things went a little bit downhill. In the downhill, they went downhill. As I didn't really get a good wall bang, got a bug right after it, missed the slide into the checkpoint, didn't land sideways like you should, panic drifted, and it was still a world record by 0.3 of a second. But had all of those things not happened, this probably could have been a 234. Probably. And to all you guys saying pull the virtual, it's still a world record, alright? So yes, I agree. I pulled a virtual. I beat the world record. You are correct, chat. But you're right in that it could be faster too. We'll see if anyone hunts this. I am not playing this again. It was too painful to grind this track, so I'm done with that track for good. C01 race, the next track to take a look at. And this needs some context. I've only put one replay here, which is the old world record from Race Hunts. But what's not really shown in this folder is that there was at one point, I think, a three-way 2666 tie. So a lot of players had this 2666 time. Yeah, for one period of time, the leaderboard, it looked like this. Race Hunts 2666, Haphaz had a 66, and Demon had a 66. And Karian, who had the record in 2015 with a 68, just came back with an absolute bomb. We thought like, oh yeah, someone's gonna get 65. That's natural, right? No. Karian just hops in with a 63, which is a massive, massive improvement on this map. This is just a tech track, and it's been completely optimized by these players. You're gonna see it from Race Hunts' point of view here. There is very little left to gain. It's either dead even in the start. Now, different drift setups here. Karian going for more exit speed. Inside line. Race Hunts a little bit behind after the first couple of turns. And then here you want to carry as much speed as possible into the downhill. And then the last downhill is tricky too, as you need to perfectly keep the car's grip with that left, right, and Karian just... This is such an incredible lead to have on this map. And then he also held it in the final drift. It's a monster time to try to beat. It's really close to perfect. I don't know what the tool assisted record is, but this is already incredibly impressive. The next record, we're still in March. In March, a lot of things happened in Trackmania, starting with D06. So, one of the dumbest events, I think, in this game's history. When Roland uploaded a new record to the leaderboard. That kind of surprised everyone. Because this record from Darkbringer was super strong. It was so fast. We were like, how on earth did he beat Darkbringer? By a second. On a wall ride track. That makes no sense at all. And he's even behind Darkbringer in the start. Like, what? This makes no sense. Where did he go? Oh. There. That's where he went. See, this map had a new strat that we hadn't seen for over 13 years. Because there's a principle in Trackmania that you want to reduce airtime wherever you can. And so it didn't make sense to us to think what Roland thought of here, which is that sometimes airtime can be good. Just take a look at this. Into the first part of the lap, he just jumps from wall ride to wall ride. instead of slowing down to reduce airtime. And it just gains so much time, it's not even funny. Like, sure, Darkbringer was kind of close here, but he has to release so much that the roll-in jump that you see up there is just way faster. It's just so much faster. So this ended up bringing the record from 58.50 to 57.35 at first. But then it was later improved to 56.83. Oh, sorry, 56.86 by Roland, which was a really good time using that strategy. And then another thing happened. Dennis started hunting the track too. Both these players got good runs. Fastest way only, heavily represented here. So Dennis had a slightly worse start than Roland into the first lap. And they're both gonna go for the jump. Quite the tricky setup. Roland had it pretty much spot on, what you want. Dennis not too far behind though. Second time. On the jump, Roland just extending into a big lead. You might wonder, how does Dennis win here? Well, if you haven't seen, there was a new shortcut found where you intentionally crash into this corner at a specific angle so that the car bounces through the checkpoint and out on the grass into a 360. And then you drive and take this sculpture to bounce into the finish. And Dennis here ended up beating the record by 300ths. Because on the last bounce, his car did a pirouette instead of going directly into the finish. You can probably see it here. Uh-oh. Surely not. Surely not, Roland. Oh, he crossed the line right there. 300ths ahead. And that is where the record stands. This counts as a brand new shortcut. Because although Roland probably could beat it normal way, nobody has beaten it the normal way. Or well, with the jump. So for now, this is the record on D06. Crazy. He probably could have had like a half a second faster time if he just went right in. And at that point, it wouldn't be possible. So there's still some things that can happen on D06 this year and the next years. We'll wait and see. The next box, D02, had a huge world record battle this year. Just look at the amount of players. You had Racehans, Roland, Plusterex, and Haphaz all fighting for it, back and forth. Racehans had the record at a 45.56. Roland took it back. Racehans said, I'm gonna take it back. Then Plusterex took it back. Then Haphaz tied that record. And then Haphaz proceeded to beat that record 2 more times. I think we're just gonna watch the newest record and the oldest record here to see, you know, how far the record has come and what changed. There's one line in particular that I think they started doing that they weren't doing before. Say the line. We'll spare the line. There are more runs coming. So Haphaz with a slightly faster start. They're both going to do the shortcut. But Racehans' old record keeps up really nicely. However, after this next turn is where things change. Because they discovered that on this next landing here, it's quicker to release like Haphaz does and land in a no slide. Racehans going to land sliding into the turn. Haphaz is going to prevent the car from sliding. Just look at the difference. This saves so much because then you can jump over this road border too and land up here. And that was the main difference. That one line has such good snowball effects after it that it basically is the entire improvement. Just land early, no slide, full YOLO jump up on the top of the road, better speed into the final drift as a consequence, and then the final skip, about equal to the old record. Also, good improvement. A new line on a track after 13 years. Not bad on D02. Next one, D04. Massive improvement, which started with Roland beating Haphaz with a 42.39. And Haphaz's record here was the first one to do the D04 shortcut. This was also done for the first time. No, this was done for the first time, I think, in 2020. It feels like 2020, yeah. And Haphaz's run then notoriously had a bad start. Like, it was a bad first checkpoint. And we all thought, damn, if only it had a better start. Well, this year, Roland came back and did exactly that. Just much faster in the first part of the track. And then the last shortcut, where you drop down here, go across the anti-booster, and then clip the sign to do a double backflip into a bug slide on the statue. He gained time there as well. Massive improvement. I think when this run released, people in the comments were like, man, that's a sick time. But then someone got an even sicker time. And that was Haphaz, who came back for what was his. Let's take a look. Much faster start by Haphaz this time. Way ahead of Roland. More speed through the drift. Like 0.4 ahead. Absolutely crazy start. Sets up for the high speed line to get the shortcut. Maintains the lead all the way to the shortcut. Double backflip into bogey slide. Directly to the finish. It is now Haphaz's world record again. 42.04 the time. Pretty crazy. I'm not sure if anyone will beat this anytime soon, because he did everything really, really optimally. And you'd need some hours on this track to defeat that. The 10th map was B03, which started with Raisons. 25.45. This was the old record. And this has, for a long time, been one of the most skill-based normal racing tracks in the game. So you're going to see an absolutely refined old record from Raisons. Just perfectly getting through the dirt. And now look at this drift on the inside. Full speed turn into a good setup for the downhill and finish. So this track didn't get improved that much at first. It was Haphaz who beat him by 400s. Let's take a look. Haphaz just about the same start as Raisons, but then going out to the left and skipping the turn. Also something that we had completely overlooked for the past 13 years. Nobody spotted this, that this even existed. But if you look at this just from the overview, it makes so much sense. Here's the turn, right? What's the fastest way to play this? Well, if you can bug slide, it's just to take a very narrow trajectory. And you will have less speed afterwards. So Raisons is going to catch up close, but not quite. Haphaz barely remained ahead and got a great downhill to set the world record. And then things really took off when everyone started going for the shortcut and improving it further. And it ended up with Roland's Jesus Took the Wheel replay late in 2021. Let's have a look at how Roland got this run. So about the same setup, but Roland got a much better inside approach on the grass slide, and then also better speed after the jump here. Just more grip in the bug slide somehow, and that's how he gained most of it, and then a solid ending. You could likely improve this by a little bit, but it's getting optimal. It's very hard to improve the bug slide, so the main improvement would have to be in this uphill jump. That's where you could probably gain. But definitely a run where Jesus took the wheel on B03. And this was done on the 30th of March. And I remember, I think there was a video where when they showed this, they showed it as an April Fool's joke at first. Like, haha, imagine a shortcut on B03. Lol, and then it was actually real. Some fun lore behind that record. Then you had D03 on the 12th of April. Interesting map. The old record from Haphaz basically just perfected the track the normal way. You can see here, perfect downhill. Gets a small speed slide before entering the wall ride. Low line here. Early drop down landing. Early jump into the wall ride. Early landing. And finish. It's an embarrassing year because even here, even on this simple track that literally is just like 20 blocks, we had overlooked something obvious. Well, not quite, but there's been a long running shortcut idea on this track, but we never had enough speed to do it. The idea was to jump out of this wall ride right here and just reach the finish. You know, skip that wall ride right there. Makes sense. We can never get the speed. But then Plusterex found a new setup for the start, which coincidentally gave you more speed. So let's have a look at Roland now and see what he did here. Goes out to the right, drives over the border for a longer speed slide, and then just commits without steering to gain more speed. One left tap, and a bounce into the finish. 0.3 faster. The problem wasn't really the jump, it was this detail right here, this slide. It built speed and we didn't know you could set it up here. Absolutely beautiful. And it was later improved by Haphaz himself, who also wanted this record back. You can see already this year, Roland's gotten a lot of records and then gotten beaten. Like Roland, this was not a good year for Roland in the start because he kept doing records and then either Haphaz or Dennis took it right back. And it's also what gives a lot of weight to the quote from Roland, which is the goal is to set a world record and not keep it because every world record will get beaten later down the road, he said. And if you see like this history of Roland setting a time and then getting beaten, you kind of start to understand where he's coming from. What Haphaz did better here is just a more left jump that bounced quicker into the finish. That's how he beat Roland's 1483 with a 1459. And even this could potentially dip even below 14 seconds if you get the exact correct jump. Depends, but there's potential still on D03. So just think about that. In the early part of 2021, there were 3 big skips and shortcuts that we hadn't yet done that were done. You had the wall ride thing where Dennis did the sculpture bounce. You had B03 with the bug slide. And now you have this wall ride jump. It was a crazy time. We were like questioning ourselves like, how much more is there out there when we overlooked all these things? There would be more, but we'll get to that. CO4 race on the 7th of May was the next record, where Aerosol had the record before. And Schmaniel tried to beat it. And Schmaniel had a trick here that he didn't yet do. I don't think he did it in the improvement. What makes this map special is right here. Quickly show this if you haven't seen it. It's very cool. One of the coolest skips in the game. You have a checkpoint up here after the loop. And then you have a tunnel right after the checkpoint. So you'd think you're forced to drive through this tunnel and end up on the other side. That would be forced. But look at this. Players actually jump out of the loop here. Then with their left front wheel, they hit the checkpoint line from underneath, collecting the checkpoint, and then landing up on this platform to skip the tunnel. And just look at how similar the racing line is. Their car is literally 1-to-1. It's the exact same line, because it's the only lineup that works. So you have to grind for many attempts to get the lineup for the bounce. But there they go, they got it, and now the shortcut onto the road. Aerosol still a little bit ahead, but Schmaniel gets more speed in the landing. Equal into the loop, but then Schmaniel sets up a little bit better for the final turn and carries more speed into the ending, which gives him the world record by 500ths. Now the trick that Schmaniel has is a roof hit, where if you have enough speed on this jump, let's see from Schmaniel's perspective, you can touch the roof here with your front wheels and reduce airtime, which gains like a 10th. So this record could probably go into the 34s, if not lower. Still a lot of potential here on CO4, but the record still stands at Schmaniel's 0.21. One sip of coffee. Map 15. Oh, would you look at that? A07 race on the 12th of May, where a certain Spanish player, Pablo GD, a man of few words, improved his own world record from a 26:21 down to a 26:20. This map has been almost completely refined by the players. It's crazy optimized. And Pablo was the man who led the charge on this for the longest time. Really just putting this record at an incredible standard. And ever since he drove this 26:20, many players tried to match it, tried to beat it. But in 2021, the year 2021, it ended up at a 0.20 tie. Demon drove a 26:20 to tie the record. We're going to watch that. But that's as far as the history has come in 2021. Who knows if this 0.20 might get beaten at a later point. But for now, in 2021, that's where the record stands. So the gray car here is Demon, Spanish car is Pablo. You can see Demon was able to keep up with Pablo's insane start. Had a little bit of a better drop down, but less speed. And then the last turn where you just gotta go full inside. Demon has a good line. He's a little ahead. He's actually ahead at the finish line. But because the game rounds your time down, no, rather rounds it up. So if he crosses the line here at... No, sorry. I'm confusing you. Let's say Demon here crossed the finish line at 26.20 and then a 2. And Pablo had 26.29 or 209. Both get 26.20. So Demon wasn't able to reach 26.19. So it's still a tie, even though it's close. We'll see if things develop in 2022. E03 Endurance, the next record. And sadly for me, this is a record that I lost this year. Well, I played this track and got the world record in 2019. And after beating it, I thought, okay, no one is going to bother playing this terrible track. It is arguably the worst track in the game, and you're gonna get to see why. It is a onslaught of bugs after bugs. We're gonna give ourselves car skins here, so it's a bit easier to see for me and Estas. Here we go. It starts out with a shortcut on the dirt. Drop down here and do another small shortcut to skip a jump. Looks all good. Now there's the third shortcut, where you jump over this wall into the checkpoint. What's kind of hidden here that you don't really see is that this track is extremely buggy. On any jump here, like right there, on any jump, your car can slow down. Just look at this again. Estas here. Looks like he's gonna have a good jump. He has more speed than me. Lands on the drop down. Bug. Okay, I have more speed than Estas now. Makes sense. I'm gonna get the lead. I jump. Bug. Estas catches up again. These bugs happen all over the place because dirt in this game is coded badly when you have unsmooth jumps. And so world record attempts effectively come down to who will bug the least. And no player in this track's history has gotten 0 bugs. It hasn't happened. My run, I think, had 2 bugs in 2019, and I was like, whoa, only 2 bugs. But Estas here was able to beat it. Just think about that. Like, there's so much potential here because no one can survive it. It's like a minefield. So if you ever see a car here just randomly lose speed, then they bugged. But yeah, pretty close battle. We both survived the first lap rather well. And then, of course, there's this mountain climb. Didn't even mention, but yeah, it's there. You have to climb a dirt mountain, middle of the track. So I was quite far ahead in lap 1. But now Estas is catching up. We still have to do the shortcut on the side of the road, and then go back. And also the skip over the wall here. These are pretty doable when you know the setups. But what a battle. We're pretty much exactly even here. Haphaz taking the lead though. Gonna switch here. So we get to see the full comparison. Oh, I had a really awkward landing. Didn't remember that. So Haphaz now like 0.2 ahead into the second lap. I thought about going for this again, but it's so frustrating. Because this is like the god run at that point. If you haven't bugged into lap 2, it's a god run. It's so rare. And you can just lose so many attempts to things that feel like they are outside your control. Like here, like here. Okay, I landed on a mine here effectively. Let's just put me equal to Haphaz. You can see this. That's not fun to play. That's a terrible track. If you just hit slowdowns everywhere. And so with that bug, I lost like a second. I don't think you guys would want to watch me suffer on a 5-minute dirt track for 2 months. Yeah, that's primarily where Haphaz gained the lead. However, this run ended up in an interesting spot. When I drove my run here, it was too slow to beat the world record at the time. Unless I did a shortcut in the ending. On this run here, I realized late into it that the only way I could beat the record was with a shortcut. So I did it. So now Haphaz had to do it as well. I think he had a bug here somewhere. Wait. Not here. Here? Oh. Oh, that's painful. Oh, let me... Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah, he could have gone so much faster, too. He was over a second ahead of me, right? How far ahead was he? Yeah, look at this. He was 1.5 seconds ahead, and then... And then what? This game is so bad. Especially dirt. But yeah, we love it. But yeah, we do love it. Alright, let's see the end. Really, really solid by Haphaz. I think I had a bug, one more bug here, that really sealed the deal. On this drop down, I think I bugged. Yeah. So now I was like, okay, I'm gonna shortcut. And guess what? Haphaz here is gonna do the same. Let's see how he does it. Last jump, you gotta turn left. He didn't short. I'm wrong. He did not shortcut. 436.89 without the shortcut. Okay, then I can show you the shortcut, because that means there's still more room to improve. If anyone is insane enough to play this track. Yeah, you can do this right here. This bug slide, bounce into the finish. Harder than it looks by a lot. This is like a Hail Mary if you're too far behind. But this is how it works. Gonna play it in slow-mo, you can see it. So you have to get a bug slide, and then you have to bounce on the dirt mountain itself. And that is a precise angle. I had it perfectly at the time. And it gains around a second, if you get it well. So 1 second to be gained, at least. Haphaz had a big bug, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. I think when I hunted this, I thought a really good time was like a 4:34, 4:35. That's when it's getting optimal. But then again, who's gonna play this? You have to be crazy. I'm not. But if you do, there's some time to gain there. Map 17 of the year was A15 speed. Now this record entered some interesting state because, and here's some lore, there was a cheated world record on this track that after the cheating scandal was removed and the record was restored to A2434. And the thing at the time was that Rayshans actually had this time 2433, which was the cheated world record by another player. And he didn't upload it because, well, Riolu did it first. Riolu did it 2433 and Rayshans didn't upload his time. And then we introduced a competitive patch where you had to play your records on the competitive patch for them to be valid. Rayshans' record was driven before the competitive patch and hoarded for his project of uploading a lot of records at once. So because we know Rayshans is a very trusted player, he was still allowed to upload the record, and this was the world record on A15 speed. But it might have been driven even in 2020. It was driven pretty early on, I think. And you can see that he was just able to get a little bit more speed than Roland's old record. And then a really good transition into the last part and finish. 100 faster. But even that would not stand for too long, as right after it came a man by the name of Haphaz. And yeah, then he got this run. We're on board with Haphaz here, though it's two gray cars. Let's see how he... we can do it again, we can do it again. I need a song anyways, my playlist ended. One sec. Let's do it properly. So the record used to belong to Rayshans. But then, a player by the name of Haphaz got the run that we're watching right now. A little bit more speed on the start, earlier landing here, so he can go to the left, 100th head on the checkpoint. Actually fell a little bit behind, but then on the last drop, got a much better transition. And with more speed, he beat Rayshans. Just this drop down right here, followed by this transition. The key moment. Able to land just a hair earlier on the road and speed slide to the left. And that's the speed difference. Earlier landing here too. Total clutch. Great run from Haphaz to get A15. Impressive. Let's take a look. Next in the folder, B09. Also a record, which reached an interesting point. Because here we thought the world record was a 1301 by Riolu. However, that run was found to be cheated as well, and the world record was restored to a 1302, driven by Sativa in 2013. So it was effectively like one of the oldest world records immediately, because the improvement wasn't legitimate. So there was a battle here right after, like, okay, can we get 1301 legitimately? Because that might be an eternal record. And Sativa himself actually went for it, and he managed to get that 1301. We're gonna do red car skin is old record, blue is new. Have a look at how Sativa beat his own world record. That was falsely taken from him. Just a slightly better first transition, slightly better second, and then he kept that lead on the third. Crazy good run. This is so difficult, because if you get just this tiny bit wrong movement on these transitions, you lose speed. You have to be perfect. And he did it 3 times really, really well. But then he even kept going after the 01, because many people were going for the 13 flat. And I think the task here is 0.99 or 0.98. They're very close to the limit. And the god himself, Sativa, was the man to get the 13 flat as well. And this might be a record that will stand for an absurd amount of time. It might stand for 10 years. I don't know. But 13 flat here is crazy. Just a slightly better start and then a good end. It's 1 or 2 hundredths behind the TAS. And I think it was a 13 flat 0.9. So you'd have to go a full hundredth ahead of this car. You can't just go like 1,000 faster and get the improvement. It's a wild time. So this is one of the strongest records right now, just in terms of how difficult it is to beat it. But you see there are so many more boxes. Players weren't done. We're going into 19. C06. Also interesting lore here, where the old record was a 51-52 by Haphaz, and the first player to beat this time was Racehans. Racehans managed to beat Haphaz's record, but in Racehans fashion, he hoarded the record. He didn't upload it. And before he uploaded it, Demon beat the record as well. He beat Racehans' hoarded time. I think Racehans had a 51-48 here. And Racehans beat that by 300s. And this is a massive improvement. And I don't think Demon knew that Racehans had it. So Racehans just messaged me and he was like, oh my god, dude, are you serious? This guy. But you see, Demon had a bit of a better start. But the most important part is now, this uphill turn. Demon got a really good setup, followed by what you need here, which is a hook on the checkpoint. Look closely at this turn, right? Just look at what happens to the car. You go for an inside line, and you actually want to crash into the checkpoint so that the car realigns down the hill. I don't know if you saw that. Show it one more time, perhaps. Both players intentionally crash the checkpoint a little bit. You might see it here. It's hard to see, but it gains a lot of time because you can carry more speed through the turn. And Demon got it perfectly in this run, just perfectly. You see that hook? So much speed. And then you just have to try to clutch the ending, set up wide, and then full speed through and get the last jump. You cannot afford to miss this. It's a big jump. You want to land on the bottom road, and he gets it. It's a cooked run this time. Like, you beat a skill-based map with 900s. Doesn't usually happen. So, very impressive record. 0.43. And I don't think anyone's gotten closer than Racehans afterwards. Map 20. A01 race. My god. Oh, this is a long... Settle down. This is a long history. Yeah. So, of course... Sadly, we had more cheated records that were removed, and the best legitimate time on A01 race was reset all the way back to a 23.87 by Kripke. Roland had also tied the 87. That's the replay I have here. But know that Kripke was the first to achieve this time. And then they realized, like, oh, now that Trackmania and Riolu both got removed for cheating, we can improve the record. I made a whole documentary about this on the main channel if you haven't seen it. Good video. So Dwarker was the first to improve. Dwarker went to the track and thought, let's get an 86. Driving the map for a while, and got a slightly better drop down in the first hill. Carried that speed, and then perfect speed slide. A really, really solid record. 23.86. And this is the first map. It's very hard to go faster here because millions of players have played this. He got 86. And then Roland tied the 86. And what was new was that there was a new trick. Somehow as well. A new trick on the very first map in the game. If you follow Roland here, you'll see that after the first drop down, he taps brake to get a speed slide. That then gives him more speed on the second speed slide. And then he just has more speed for the entire rest of the map, and that's enough to tie Dwarker. And when people saw this, we were like, oh my god, there's potential. And the story goes on, but Roland was able to do 85, 84, then 83, which was a monster time. Then Dwarker tied that. And then at last, in 2021, the record ended up at a 23.81 from Dwarker. We're gonna watch this battle here between these two giants. Let's take a look. So Roland versus Dwarker. about an equal start, but Dwarka gets more speed out of the first speed slide, and it's hard to understand if you're not a Trackmania player how precise the angle for speed sliding is. But if you're just a little bit off holding the angle, you instantly lose speed and can't get the record. It requires like robot hands to get such a good speed slide. And it's also why this map was so susceptible to cheating. Just because if you use a macro in this last turn, or if you do it in slow motion, it's a lot easier to get that precise angle. But these boys beat the cheaters without cheats. And I think that deserves a round of applause. Incredible effort by Roland Dwarka and the rest for actually doing it legitimately. They deserve all the glory. Wildly impressive. Next map, A11 race. Yet another record that used to be cheated. And the legitimate time, the best time, was 1842 by Alien. And Haphaz praises the Lord here after a long session of hunting, finally improving the record with 1840. Let's take a look. Alien versus Haphaz. Haphaz went a little bit wider in the start. Gives him a better trajectory for the downhill. That's about 100th. Better landing, and now you just have to really tether the car on dirt. You have to be so gentle, same in the uphill, and then try not to bug on the final jump. This took Haphaz many attempts, and a lot of world record ties. I think he had 1842, so Alien's record. I think he tied it twice before beating it. It's a really, really strong run. I mean, it's hard to go much faster. Haphaz, yet another record, the 21st of the year. Let's hop in here at 22, where Ins used to have the record, and Haphaz beat it by 100th of a second. This record from Ins, I remember it was set just before Trackmania 2020 came out. Ins played this map like 20 minutes before, and he beat the record. And then Haphaz got this one. Slightly better start. Better airtime reduction. I think this was one of the main points, was that insane start was a bit on the slower end for B07, but then he had a really good ending. And Haphaz was able to remain ahead with this crazy ending strategy, if you haven't seen it. What they do here is really fascinating. So they go over the water edges to the checkpoint to set up a bug slide. And in the past, the strategy then used to be to jump over this edge and drive on the grass. But they realized, like, if you slide at a backwards angle on grass, you don't really lose speed. So if you just keep this angle right here, you don't lose speed if you slide on the grass. And what you can then do with this is you can activate another bug slide before the finish. So you see Haphaz rotating his car back here into a 90-degree angle and then bug sliding to the left again. Super clever. Really cool strategy that Ince and Haphaz found. I think they found it together. Maybe it was Ince who found it. You can also see how Ince did it. It looks so wicked to just let the car slide backwards and then catch it with a bug slide. It's very clever. Record number 23. B01 race. Absolutely incredible improvement. Because again, there was a cheated time here. Race Hans had a 25.26 he did legitimately. And at the time that he drove it, he beat the world record by 0.04 of a second. Which is a massive time difference for such a basic track as B01 is. Riolu had a cheated 0.25. And somehow, some way, Haphaz managed to beat a cheated record on this map legitimately by 100th of a second. And it's very difficult because this first dirt turn is everything. This first turn right here, you have to no slide. Steer very smoothly and prevent the car from sliding. And Haphaz managed to do it better in real time than Riolu managed to do it in slow motion. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. And part of the story, like, on AO1 is how players were able to beat the cheaters. But what's kind of left out of that story is that they did this on almost every map. On almost every map where the record was cheated, Players later managed to beat it in real time. Like B09, where Sativa beat the cheated record. A11, where Haphaz beat the cheated record. B01 now, where Haphaz also beat the cheated record. That is crazy. Once the cheated records were removed, it was like, yeah, but we should try to beat this now and actually go faster than the cheaters after the fact, which is astounding. And it's kind of like in your face to the cheated records too, you know? Same thing here. A14. I can't remember. Oh no, so here, this was actually double Giga Chad because Riolu had a 0.21 that was cheated. And then Rayshans beat it with a 0.20, legitimately. But then Link beat it with a 2017. And 300s on a map as plain as this is remarkable. It's so crazy. I think Link's record here is only a few hundreds behind the tool assisted record. It is very close to the limit. You can see he just had a better start, more speed into the final corner, and then a really good no air time. I think the task was 0.14, 0.13, and either 0.17. So mind-blowing time. If you drive the normal way, there literally isn't more to gain here than just a few hundreds anymore. It's so optimal. It's crazy. Next map, 25th record of the year, C12 Obstacle. Not a map that a lot of players enjoy, but let me tell you that C12 enjoyers are insane at this game. This record was done by Solution, who's a Swedish player. So we will put the Swedish car skin on the new record, so Sweden can get to enjoy their spotlight. The green car is the old record from Solution. He just improved his own time. And this map requires you to do 3 of these tricks right here. So you have to go up the wall ride and then clip the sign in a very specific way to bounce back. You can maybe see it if we go a bit slower. Here, you have to hit this sign with your front wheel so that it pushes you down into the quarter pipe again. That is not easy. You do it 3 times. And the car doesn't really want to do it. It's a very precise angle. He did it 3 times, and then right here, immediately after, there's a shortcut. You take the checkpoint and turn around to go up on the scenery. And he carried a lot more speed and then got a perfect jump here to go into the finish. That's where he gained 0.2, and this last jump is masterfully executed. If you look at the angle in camera 2, he jumps, hits the lowest part of it, and then full right turn immediately after. It's a crazy record if you're gonna try to go faster. You could say 28 is possible. I think C12 players will also say 28 is possible, but it's getting to a point now where you need everything perfectly. Beat it. So yeah, that is also another strong record. I mean, all the records this year have been amazing, and there are still 4 records left to take a look at. We have 26, which is A13 race, where there's a half a second improvement somehow. What happened here? Well, I think 2021 can be summarized as the year of new discoveries, because little did we know that on this track there was a completely new strat, kind of in plain sight. And we tried it in the past, but we didn't really know how to make it faster. But due to the release of Donadigo's tool-assisted, tool-assisted record creation tool, where you can make tool-assisted speedruns, we discovered how to do this. It was found by Steen8, I think. Give it proper credit. But you can see that Link's old record turns around the checkpoint, and Link's new record keeps driving down the road. And what both records here are trying to do is just go from the one checkpoint on the map, which is here, and to the finish line, which is here. And the fastest way used to be to just drive up the road here like Link does and climb over the wall. That used to be the method. But there's a new method, and that is to drive the track as intended and then jump from this ramp back to the road. Now, he's still way behind. You can see the name tag. He's way behind. You can climb the wall this way with more speed. If you do a bug slide into a hop onto the booster. Total wicked. And this record from Link is again close to perfect. It's like 1200s behind the TAS. But just look at this one more time. It's insane. Lands on the road and then hooks the wheel to do a 360 perfect landing on the booster. That's gonna be rough to beat. There really is no good way of doing this, apart from doing everything you did, but like 100 faster. It's a crazy run. 27.56. Now, let's see what we have in 27. E05 Endurance. Do you guys want to watch the entire run? It's only 53 minutes. If we start now, we'll be done by midnight. Now, we're not gonna watch the entire run, but I'll give you the main takeaway here. Oh, we have to remove 160 pages of cameras. Yeah, no, so to summarize, I think just to summarize Eo5, Demon hunts it every single, or has hunted it traditionally, around Christmas every year, or late in the year. He goes for more Eo5 attempts. And last year, he ended up with a very unfortunate fail in the final lap of Eo5. I believe I have a clip. 1 second. This was in December of 2020. So one year ago, this is where the last rewind ended. Demon was on world record pace on the final lap, lap 60, right? He's minus 21 hundredths. And he got a slide. The car is sliding here, so it doesn't have full grip. And he ended up missing the final checkpoint. And not completing the run, which would have been a world record. Just imagine that. You drive for 53 minutes perfectly. You're on the final jump, and the nerves get to you, and you miss. That hurts. That really hurts. That's just pain. The definition of pain. 53 minutes, 20 seconds, and one slide kills it. So Demon wasn't really happy ending on this note. So in September, he went back and played the map again. And over the course of 53 minutes, if we just zoom out here, you'll start to see that there's a gap building between the two cars. They're very close for most of it. You see how close the name tags are? If I skip about 20 minutes in, there is one car in a clear lead. And throughout the track, he just built up a bigger and bigger lead by driving consistently faster. And you have to think like, let's say you drive on average 1 second faster on this track every lap. That's a minute over the course of the entire race. Now that's not really possible at the world record level anymore. We're talking hundreds faster. And I think Demon just had 400ths of a second faster average throughout the track, which resulted in 4 seconds gained. He beat the record by 4 seconds and drove a 53.25, which is hard to put into perspective how good of a record this is. I might do a video on it at some point to show you, but it's really crazy. 53.25 is insane. Wait, that's more. How much was it? Was it 700ths of a second, right? I'm not messing that up. I am. Maths, oh god. Did you know there was a Facebook post? I seem to end up in these situations. At Virtual TM, it seems you have offended the Facebook math community. There's a Facebook page called I Think That's Maths, and the post is, yeah, that's how percentages work. And it's my equation from how I got a dream world record in Trackmania. 200 upvotes, 32 comments. And they're just all trashing me in the comments. It's I should, yeah, if you're good at maths, then hit me up, help me out. I can't keep missing. Also, yeah, there was a guy who recognized me there. It was Simon, said, but then Haphaz got this run. Thank you. The 28th record of the year, D12 speed, a record that used to belong to Haphaz. But we have a brand new player who has improved a lot in Trackmania in the last, I'd say even just half a year, which is Jan. Jan123405, absolute master of the game in a quick amount of time. I don't think he's been playing more than a year, but quickly improved. Slovakia or Slovenia, I can't remember. We're gonna do default. Teach me until next time. Wait, I see the flag. Oh, this is a geography quiz. Slovakia is my guess. It's Slovenia? Oh, every time I miss. Okay, Slovenia. That makes sense. Yeah, if you're good at geography, hit me up as well. I need both. I need maths. It's almost like I didn't go to school. I'm bad at maths, I'm bad at geography, but I'm good at telling stories about Trackmania. So I'm gonna stick to what I'm good at. And let me tell you about this run right here. It used to belong to Haphaz, but Jan beat it by a crazy margin. I'm not bad at Trackmania. Don't let me have one thing. Jan had just, and this is the most important part, a better shortcut. A really damn good shortcut on this track. Lower airtime and landed with more speed. And if you're Haphaz in this spot, there's really not much you can do. Jan just got a better shortcut. And you kind of just have to take the L because you have less speed. And that snowballs throughout the track. But Jan was getting like consistent improvements, like Haphaz record is 3870, and he was getting 3890, 3880, 3875. And then just out of nowhere, he gets this 3843, which is a monster time. It's an absolutely insane record. Like, it's a beautiful shortcut. So if you're gonna try to beat this, you have to get this low airtime early landing skip. That's where the time gain will be. So yeah, it's clear Haphaz has skill issues. I agree. Some clear skill issues here on the tracks. No, I wouldn't say that. Now he's gonna beat my records again. Sad. The last folder here that I have prepared is 29. Let's take a look. B02 race, which used to belong to Demon. It was actually the oldest record in the game at one point, driven in 2018. But Dennis, great year for him. He got so many records and got this one as well. Have a look. First overwall skip, Demon way ahead. But Dennis has a little bit more speed. Catches up ever so slightly, and then in the last drift, absolute clutch. Absolute clutch. I have seen enough jab runs where he was far ahead of Demon into this next rift and then completely choked it. Check DM. Oh, I'm lacking 2 folders. Okay, thank you. But yeah, what I was about to say, in this last drift, you just have to commit. It's very scary, but you just have to go full speed as much as you can, because you carry it to the end. And Dennis beat the record by 400s. Very impressive. And you'd think that's the last one of the year, but I'm missing 2 records here that I'm quickly gonna pull up. There's bonus content. If you stuck around this long, you get to enjoy some amazing runs. I shouldn't say that because one of them is mine, but yes, one of them is mine. You can't say cringe. Look, if you beat an Adeo world record in Trackmania Nations Forever, you get to be happy with your record. If you want to call me cringe, then beat my time. So yeah, we have D13, where the record, it used to belong to Crosshairs. I think going into the year, the record was 103.95 by Race Hans, 94. And then me and Crosshairs, of course, had a long battle, but we ended up with this comparison. Nice replay name, yeah. Crosshairs fueled the fire this year with the replay names, but I appreciate it. Made for a good story. Let's take a look at the final battle on D13. So I had a slightly better first uphill. Then Crosshairs got a good drop down. Uses a different strategy. Still pretty equal though into the checkpoint. Now the bug slide, where I got one of my fastest starts ever. That run. Just so much speed. And then I kind of messed up the middle shortcut. I wish I'd had it better. Crosshairs didn't have it perfectly either. But I was already ahead. And I had practiced so much with a double wallbang strategy that even on a good run like this, I just went for it. I wanted to get a run with it, and it happened. This run, it happened. And afterwards, I stayed ahead. getting 102.67. We'll see if Crosshairs makes a comeback here. From playing this map a lot, I'd say 102.3 is like a really good human run. Anything beyond 102.3, you need like absurd luck because you can't really control everything. But I'm already very happy with this time. It took me so much grinding that if this gets beaten, I feel proud of what I have accomplished. There's one more record, which was driven on Christmas Eve, 2021. I believe it was the last record of the year, and I will show it to you now. Ooh, I'm actually missing more than that. I'm missing 3 more records. But it's hard to know the dates because TMX was down, but I have it all, so we'll show you. The next record was on B04 race on Christmas Eve in European time, but on Christmas morning in Australian time. Record used to belong to Haphaz, but Link said on his very first try here on B04, he managed to improve the record, and this is so close to the max. It's only a few hundreds away. Might not look like much here, but if you haven't seen this before, they both intentionally have to get this bug right here that lifts the wheel, which forces the front wheel to do a speed slide on the block. So they gain speed by lifting the back wheel. It makes no sense, but it makes a lot of sense as well. And Link just had a more direct approach to the wall ride. Could go lower than Haphaz here. And that ended up being the 100th difference. I think the TAS is like 0.43, so there is a little bit, but I mean, 47 humanly is already crazy, crazy good. That same day, by the way, Schmaniel improved B07, and this video does say former world record. So it's a little bit to come in 2022, where we haven't quite gotten to lore-wise yet, but the record used to be 0.52 by Haphaz. And then Schmaniel beat it. Taking it back. 0.50. That's something that happened. 2 days later, on the 26th of December, Demon played B08 Endurance, a 5-lap multi-lap track, where he also beat another world record. I don't remember. I think this record used to be around 0.4 or point. I think it was 0.30 and did 0.24. Also a really good improvement because on this track you have to do that skip there 4 times, which I rated burn in hell. Yeah, this track it's one of my least favorites to drive because of this next jump. It's so hard. This one is hard, and then the turn with the warning sign is very scary and difficult. This one right here, I do not enjoy. I'm not a warning sign enjoyer. And my personal best on this track is like 4 seconds behind world record. I literally don't understand. It's just difficult, but some people are really good at this stuff, including Demon, who might be the best. On the leaderboards, I think Race Hans is the closest, but he's still quite far from the record. So this is really a Demon specialty. This map right here. 128.24, and Hans is second with 0.70. That's a big gap. Look at this. We get to see B07 by Simi. Not Simo, but Simi from Poland, who also beat Schmaniel before New Year's Eve, which is the cutoff on the 27th of December. Managed to do 200s faster. 0.48 with a better ending bug slide. So the Dutch car is Mess old record, and this one is the new. And I like how even in the beginning, he did this solely for flair. Look, you could just go in a straight line, but nah. A little bit of flair here, because why not? This map is not that optimized yet. You can afford to throw a 100th by weaving between the poles. Might as well. Then the bug slide, and here it's important to land with a lot of speed. His old PB had it much better. So now he's a couple of hundreds down. Gets a lot of speed in that landing though, and into the ring. He's catching up a little bit. Better setup for this drop down. Might result in more speed. Oh, not quite. But still keeping up really close here though. Oh, that's a good jump. Lower air time, lower air time. And he's right back to equal. And now the last part. Just 2 jumps remaining. Has a really good lead now before the last jump, which is hard to aim. I cannot do it myself that often. Bit wide on the final jump, still a new world record. And after setting this time, Ness started doing the Joe Halls route, which I showed, which could make him go even faster. Now, if we just look in-game at the tracks, right? What more might there be to do? What more is there left to do in the campaign, really? Like, apart from improving the records? Well, there have been some, you know, new strategies discovered. On the white maps, I think things will remain mostly the same strategy-wise. Mostly same for the blue tracks as well. Here, you're gonna have to just go faster on pace. And then on the blue tracks, there's a couple of skips we haven't seen yet. C04 is one, C09 is one, that we might see C14, there might be some stuff. C05 has a shortcut as well, not done yet by humans, might happen. If we look at the red tracks, a lot of it I think will remain the same. There's a new shortcut on D05, which might be interesting. D09 has had this skip for the past like 2-3 years that none of us have managed to do. That one could eventually be done. And then the other tracks, pretty figured out. And then Eo1 has a very elusive shortcut as well. Eo4 with the Joe Halls route. Eo5 even has a shortcut that no one's done yet. Eo3 has 2 or 3 shortcuts no one's done. So there is more stuff to do in this game, even after 13 years. We haven't quite cracked it all. And if you know Trackmania players right, you know that they'll keep going until it's all done, until it's all complete. That's the end goal. So that is 2021, and I really can't wait to see what will happen next year. That is the rewind, guys. I think that is the end of it. All the records from 2021 reviewed. Of course, we're doing this in March, so there have been some records already, but I can't do those yet. We gotta wait till next December, where hopefully Trackmania Exchange doesn't get hacked, and then we can start actually at New Year's instead of in March. Hopefully no cheatgate. You know, it kind of ruined a lot of the history, but it also gave it a new arc for players. I think after all was said and done, especially in Nations Forever, there is no cheated record that stands as like a ghost record, like actually the fastest time but cheated. I think they beat all of them. So yeah, round of applause to the community for that, because like while so much history was lost, they immediately claimed it all back. And I can show you guys also before we end it off, I can show you where the leaderboards on the Nadeo tracks are at in terms of world records. So you can see how the overall ranking looks. Haphaz has 13. I think he has the most right now. Raysons has 7. Demon has 9. That is the clear top 3. And then the list goes on. I have 2. But players like Dennis have 4 right now. And I think Link has 3, if not 2. Estes has 2 world records. Pablo 0. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Not quite yet, though. Do I have a favorite record from the year? I think C14 ranks pretty high. C14 is a good record. Eo5 from Demon, good redemption arc. I need to make a video on that record to explain why it's so good, because otherwise you won't really be able to tell. It's just a monster record. Also, all the shortcuts, like B03 shortcut, that was found and done. There was D03, the jump, found and done, incredible. And D06, both the jump shortcut and the Dennis shortcut. That's just so cool. You sound like a nerd talking about tracks. Nice. I am a nerd talking about tracks. And if you're into that kind of thing, then follow the stream. Because I'm gonna do that a lot more this year.